Rain hammered against the old wooden shingles of a small cottage resting on the far edge of Willowbrook Village. Inside, 7-year-old Lily Parker hugged her favorite stuffed dragon close as lightning flashed outside her window, lighting up the forest that surrounded her home. She didn't know it yet, but this storm was about to change her life forever. The thunder had been rolling for hours, rumbling like a restless beast. The wind whistled through the trees, bending branches and rattling the Parker family's cottage. Her parents, both exhausted university researchers, had gone to bed early, leaving Lily alone with her imagination and the sound of the storm. From her bedroom window, Lily could see the dark outline of the woods. Beyond that was nothing but wilderness, a place the villagers whispered about. Some said strange creatures lived out there, but grown-ups always laughed those stories off as fairy tales meant to keep kids from wandering too far. A sudden gust slammed against her window, making Lily jump. She squeezed her stuffed dragon tighter. "Don't worry, Ember," she whispered. "It's just thunder. Mom says storms can't hurt us when we're inside." But the storm didn't seem to agree. A brilliant flash of lightning struck close, so close that the thunder shook the entire house. The lights flickered, once, twice, and then went out completely. Lily froze in the dark, clutching Ember to her chest. Only the faint glow of lightning flashes lit the room, and in one of those quick flashes, something moved. She turned to the window. There, in the garden under the old oak tree, 2 small shapes huddled together. They hadn't been there before. She was sure of it. Curiosity began to overtake her fear. The shapes were twitching, moving weakly. Maybe hurt. "I should tell Mom and Dad," she murmured. But something deep inside told her she needed to act, now. Lily slipped on her yellow raincoat and rubber boots, quietly tiptoeing past her parents' room. She grabbed the emergency flashlight from the kitchen, unlatched the back door, and stepped out into the storm. Rain lashed against her coat. The wind nearly pushed her backward, but she kept going, one small step at a time. When she reached the oak tree and lifted her flashlight, she froze. 2 tiny creatures lay there, each no bigger than a house cat. Their scales shimmered in the beam of light, one a deep sapphire blue, the other a bright emerald green. Thin, delicate wings clung to their sides. Lily's heart skipped. "Dragons," she whispered. The creatures opened their eyes, their pupils narrowed like a cat's, and their glowing irises flickered like embers. The blue one tried to move but whimpered in pain. Its leg looked twisted. The green one's wing was torn. Both were scratched and bleeding. Without thinking, Lily knelt beside them. "It's okay," she said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you. I want to help." The 2 dragons exchanged a glance, almost as if they were speaking silently. After a tense moment, they relaxed a little, still watching her closely. "You can't stay out here," Lily whispered. "You'll get worse in the rain." She laid her flashlight down, took off her raincoat, and gently bundled the dragons inside it. They were warm, almost hot, like tiny living embers wrapped in silk. "I've got you," she promised. Carefully, she carried them back through the rain, her small arms trembling but determined. When she finally slipped back inside and closed the door, the sound of the storm softened. In her bedroom, she grabbed a box, filled it with her softest blankets, and made a cozy little nest. The green dragon curled up right away, its wings stretched awkwardly. The blue one struggled more. Its leg was badly bent. Lily knew what to do. She'd seen her mom use the first aid kit before, moving quietly through the dark hall. She grabbed the white box with the red cross from the bathroom and hurried back to her room. Tonight, Lily Parker wasn't just a little girl hiding from the storm. She was a healer, and she was about to save 2 dragons. "This might sting a little," Lily whispered, her voice trembling with care. "But it'll help you get better." Under the soft beam of her flashlight, she worked with the focus of someone far older than 7. For nearly an hour, the little girl moved gently between the 2 creatures, cleaning their wounds with antiseptic wipes, dabbing ointment on tiny cuts, and wrapping the green dragon's torn wing with careful precision. The blue dragon's leg was trickier. Lily paused, remembering how the school nurse had once fixed Jaime Foster's finger when he'd hurt it on the playground. Using popsicle sticks from her art box and a few layers of gauze, she improvised a splint. The dragons didn't fight her. They watched her every move, their glowing eyes soft with pain but filled with trust. Occasionally they let out faint musical chirps when something hurt too much, and every time they did, Lily whispered gently, I know, little one. Almost done. As she worked, she talked, because silence felt too heavy. My name's Lily, she told them softly. Everyone says dragons aren't real, but I've always believed. My teacher, Mrs. Wilson, says they're made-up stories, but Mom and Dad are scientists, and they say sometimes things are real long before science finds them. By the time she finished, the storm had finally quieted. The thunder faded into the distance, leaving only the steady sound of dripping rain outside. The two dragons, now cleaned, patched, and wrapped in soft gauze, looked utterly drained, but calm. Lily smiled proudly at her work. She grabbed a small saucer from the kitchen, poured in a bit of water, and placed another dish beside it with leftover chicken from dinner. You should try to eat something, she said softly. At first they hesitated, wary, unsure. But then the green one took a sip. The blue one followed, nibbling carefully at the bits of meat. Seeing them eat made Lily's heart swell. I'll keep you safe till you're all better, she promised, curling up in bed beside their little box nest. Then you can go home to your family. The dragons looked at her, really looked, with eyes that seemed far too wise for creatures so small. As Lily's eyelids grew heavy, she could almost hear faint whispers brushing her mind. Thank you, little one. When morning light slipped through her curtains, Lily stirred awake. For a moment, she wasn't sure if it had all been a dream. But then she saw the box beside her bed. The dragons were still there. Peaceful, breathing, real. The green one's wing already looked better, the raw tear now faint and pink. The blue one's leg remained splinted, but it rested more comfortably now. Lily smiled, her heart full of quiet triumph. Then, knock, knock. A sharp sound at the front door made her jump. It was early, too early for anyone to visit. She heard her father's heavy footsteps crossing the hallway, the creak of the old floorboards, the door unlocking. And then, silence. Curious and wide awake, Lily slipped out of bed, her bare feet brushing against the cold floor. She crept to her door and eased it open, just enough to peek through. What she saw on the other side made her breath catch in her throat. A woman stood there, but not any ordinary woman. She was impossibly tall, her skin glowing faintly as if lit from within. Her hair fell like a river of silver starlight, each strand shimmering with tiny sparks that looked like stars. But it was her eyes that truly froze Lily, golden irises with vertical pupils that seemed alive with fire. Her midnight blue robes floated around her as though an invisible wind carried them. Lily's father stood in stunned silence, his morning coffee halfway to his lips. I seek the child who saved my younglings, the woman said, her voice rich with power. I am Seraphina, queen of the draconian realm. The storm last night tore open the veil between our worlds. 2 of my dragon hatchlings were lost, my great-grandchildren, the youngest of our royal bloodline. Lily gasped softly, and that tiny sound drew the queen's gaze instantly. Those molten eyes locked onto her, and in that moment, Lily knew. This was no human woman. This was a dragon, in human form. The queen's tone softened. Child, my younglings carry your scent and the mark of your healing hands. You helped them when fear would have been easier. You showed compassion. Then, to Lily's utter disbelief, the dragon queen bowed, lowering herself on one knee before her. For this, I owe you a debt that cannot be repaid. You have the eternal gratitude of the oldest race, the Draenum. Behind Lily, faint chirps echoed. The baby dragons were awake, trying to clamber out of their box, their eyes fixed on the tall figure in the doorway. Grandmother, the voice brushed against Lily's mind, young and weak but full of warmth. Queen Seraphina stepped forward gracefully, past Lily's frozen father. May I see them? She asked. Lily nodded, leading her into the room. The dragons squeaked with excitement as the queen knelt beside them. Her golden fingers traced the bandages gently. "You have done well," she murmured. "Zorian's wing will mend cleanly, and Lunaria's leg, perfectly set. Without you, they might never have flown again." Lily's mother appeared at the doorway, her face pale with a mix of fear and awe. What is happening here?" Queen Seraphina rose to her full, elegant height, filling the small room with her presence. "Your daughter has rendered a service to the royal house of Drenham. Among dragons, such acts are never forgotten." She turned back to Lily. "Child, what is your name?" "Lily Parker, Your Majesty," Lily replied softly, trying an awkward curtsy. The queen's expression brightened with a radiant smile. "Lily Parker, I, Seraphina, Queen of the Draconian Realm, Keeper of the Eternal Flame, Guardian of the Seven Skies, declare you dragon friend. This is our highest honor for one not of our kind." From within her robes she drew out a teardrop-shaped crystal glowing with a living flame and gently placed it around Lily's neck. The pendant pulsed warmly, like a tiny heartbeat against her skin. "This marks you as one who has earned our trust," the queen said. "Should you ever call my name, no distance or world shall stop a dragon from answering." Lily touched the pendant, wonder filling her eyes. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Her parents stood together now, watching with disbelief. "Your daughter," the queen told them, "has a rare heart, one that sees beyond fear or difference. You have raised her well." Her father finally found his voice. "She gets that from her mother," he said weakly. The queen's laughter rang like silver bells. "Perhaps. Or perhaps it is simply who she is." Her expression softened again. "The younglings must return home for healing, though your daughter's care has given them strength." Lily's chest tightened. "Do they have to go so soon?" The dragons chirped softly, and again Lily heard their voices in her mind. "We must go home, Lily," said Zorian. "But we will never forget you." "Never forget," echoed Lunaria. "You are sister of our hearts now." The queen watched their exchange curiously. "You hear them, don't you? Their thoughts." Lily nodded hesitantly. "Remarkable," murmured the queen. "Such clarity between our kinds is rare, especially in one so young." She studied Lily closely. "There is more to you than meets the eye, Lily Parker." Before Lily could respond, the air behind the queen shimmered, rippling like water, revealing a breathtaking realm beyond. Towers of crystal, islands floating in golden skies, dragons soaring through clouds. "A door between worlds," the queen said softly. "It will close soon," Queen Seraphina said softly. "We must not linger." With graceful movements, she gathered the two hatchlings, their tiny chirps echoing with farewell. Lily's eyes shimmered with tears as she waved goodbye to her new friends. "Wait," she called suddenly. "Will I ever see them again?" The queen paused at the glowing threshold between worlds. "The future is not fixed, Lily Parker," she replied gently, "but I have a feeling your path and that of dragonkind will cross once more." Her golden gaze drifted to the pendant resting on Lily's chest. "Remember, the crystal binds us, and dragons never forget a friend." With that, Queen Seraphina stepped through the shimmering portal, the hatchlings nestled safely in her arms. The doorway rippled once, then vanished, leaving behind nothing but silence. Lily, her mother, and her father stood frozen in the now ordinary bedroom that suddenly felt far too quiet. "Did that really just happen?" her mother whispered. Her father rubbed a hand through his messy hair. "If it was a hallucination," he said weakly, "it was an incredibly vivid one." Lily clutched the pendant, still warm against her skin. "It happened," she said with quiet certainty. "And I think it's only the beginning." Her parents exchanged bewildered glances. Finally, her mother sighed. "Well," she said softly, "I suppose we should have breakfast." Apparently, earning the gratitude of dragon royalty works up an appetite. As they left for the kitchen, Lily glanced one last time at the space where the portal had shimmered. "See you again," she whispered. And as if answering her, the pendant gave a soft, glowing pulse. 3 years passed since that stormy night when dragons had entered Lily's world. She grew taller, sharper, and endlessly curious, diving deep into books on biology and mythology, an odd mix that puzzled her teachers but made perfect sense to her. The crystal pendant never left her neck. She wore it every day, usually tucked beneath her shirt to avoid questions she couldn't answer. Life in Willowbrook rolled on quietly, though every so often her parents still glanced nervously at dark clouds or fell silent whenever Lily mentioned dragons. But Lily never forgot. Each night, she would hold the pendant close and whisper goodnight to Zorian and Lunaria, picturing them soaring freely through crystal skies. The pendant would warm faintly in reply, a silent reassurance that their bond still lived. Then, on the 3rd anniversary of that unforgettable night, everything changed again. Lily sat cross-legged on her bed, flipping through a thick book on comparative anatomy. Her 10th birthday gift, a microscope, sat proudly on her cluttered desk beside jars and slides from her many experiments. Outside, the October sun was unusually warm, the sky too calm for what was about to come. Zorian motioned toward the wounded dragons with a sweep of his massive wing, the same one Lily had bandaged years ago, now healed and strong. "Our healers are with the battle lines," his voice echoed in her mind. "These refugees have only the most basic care." Lily took in the sight before her, rows of injured dragons lying amid crystal light and smoke. Her expression hardened with determination. "Show me the worst injuries first," she said. For hours, she worked relentlessly beside Zorian and Lunaria, moving from dragon to dragon. Though dragon biology was unlike anything she had studied, Lily realized that the principles of healing never changed. Clean the wound, stop infection, support what's broken, and never lose hope. Some dragons watched her warily, a small human among giants. But when Zorian or Lunaria spoke her name, or when they saw the glowing pendant against her chest, they relaxed. The mark of the dragon friend was enough. She emptied her entire first aid kit, then improvised. Some dragons watched her warily, a small human among giants. But when Zorian or Lunaria spoke her name, or when they saw the glowing pendant against her chest, they relaxed. The mark of the dragon friend was enough. She emptied her entire first aid kit, then improvised. Soft moss became bandages. Lunaria told her it had natural healing power. Shards of flexible crystal became splints, stronger than any stick or brace. Lily's hands moved quickly but gently, guided by instinct and compassion. As she worked, the dragons told her fragments of the truth, of the war that had shattered their skies. The Void Dragons, ancient enemies of Draenheim, had returned from exile. Once banished to a shadow realm for rebellion, they were now led by Malagor the Deceiver, the fallen brother of an ancient king. "They strike without warning," rasped an elderly red dragon, his torn wing trembling. "They've changed in exile, become something unnatural." "Grandmother fights at the eastern gates," added Lunaria, her tone heavy with worry. "Even her strength cannot hold forever." Lily paused, glancing toward the distant glow that marked the horizon. She remembered Queen Seraphina kneeling before her in gratitude years ago, the majesty, the kindness in those golden eyes. And now that same queen was out there, fighting for her realm's very survival. "There has to be more I can do," Lily murmured, finishing a bandage on a small purple dragon's tail. Zorian and Lunaria exchanged a long, silent look, the kind only dragons could share. Finally, Zorian spoke. "There is a legend," he said slowly, "of a time when dragons and humans fought side by side. It is said that when the heart of a true dragon friend is freely given in service, it awakens the deep magic." "Deep magic?" Lily asked, wiping sweat from her brow. "The oldest power in Draenheim," Lunaria explained. "It is beyond fire or flight, the power that heals not just flesh but spirit, the magic that mends what is broken." Lily looked down at her hands, small, trembling human hands that had been healing since childhood, birds with broken wings, a neighbor's injured dog, a classmate's sprained wrist that always felt better when she held it. Could that really mean? "But I've been healing all this time," she whispered. "Not like that," said Zorian softly. "The deep magic is within you, Lily friend. It always has been. It's why our wounds healed so quickly when you helped us. You just haven't awakened it. Yet." Before Lily could respond, a deafening boom shook the cave. Crystals rained from the ceiling. Dragons groaned in fear and pain. "They've broken through the middle defenses," bellowed a bronze dragon near the entrance. "They'll reach us any moment." Panic spread through the wounded. Many were too injured to flee. Lily's heart pounded, but she steadied her breath. "Zorian, Lunaria, we have to protect them. They can't defend themselves." "Then we will stand with you," Zorian said firmly, stepping toward the cave mouth, "even if we are young for battle." "No," Lily said sharply. "You're needed here with the wounded. I'll go." Both dragons froze, staring at her. "Lily friend," Lunaria pleaded, "you are small even for a human. The void dragons would destroy you with a single breath." Lily gripped her pendant. It pulsed hot against her skin. Alive. "Queen Seraphina said," she whispered, "that if I ever truly needed her, I should call her name. I think this qualifies." Before either dragon could stop her, Lily strode to the mouth of the cave. Outside, chaos. The sky was an inferno of shadow and fire. Dragons of every color battled their oil-black foes. The void dragon's breath wasn't flame. It was darkness itself, curling and clawing through the air. Outside the cave, the wave of radiant light continued to expand, sweeping across the battlefield like the breath of creation itself. Wherever it touched, wounded dragons found new strength, their scales gleaming brighter, their roars echoing with renewed courage. But the same light exposed a darker truth. The enemies they fought were never true dragons. The void creatures screamed as their false forms crumbled, shadows burning away to reveal twisted shapes of darkness wearing stolen scales. At the center of it all stood Lily, her small hands pressed firmly against Queen Seraphina's brow, both of them surrounded by pure white flame. Through the queen's eyes, Lily saw the source of the corruption, Malagor, the deceiver. His power was immense, a darkness so thick that even the healing light slid off his scales like oil. "This changes nothing," Malagor's voice slithered into her mind, cold and sharp as ice. "The child's power will fade, but our darkness is eternal." "You're wrong," Lily replied, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "Light always pushes back the dark. Always." At her words, the white fire pulsed again, flaring outward with unstoppable force. Across the sky, true dragons were strengthened and healed, while the void-born impostors screamed and dissolved into nothingness. Only Malagor remained, his false body unraveling, his outline flickering between shadow and something else entirely. His eyes locked onto Lily, burning with hatred so fierse it felt like a blow. A human child? How is this possible? Queen Seraphina spread her mighty wings, placing herself protectively before Lily. "You never understood the real power of Draenheim, brother. It isn't fire or fang, it's compassion. It's healing. This child bandaged my hatchlings without thought of reward. That is power your kind will never comprehend." With a roar of fury, Malagor lunged. The queen braced for battle, but Lily stepped forward instead, her pendant glowing like a captured star. "Enough," she said softly. The crystal at her throat flared once more, focusing all the white fire into a single brilliant beam. It struck Malagor straight through the heart. For a heartbeat, his false dragon form held, then split apart like torn fabric. What emerged wasn't a monster of shadow, but a frail ancient dragon. His scales were gray, his eyes dim with centuries of rage. "What have you done?" he gasped, looking down at himself in disbelief. "I healed you," Lily answered quietly. "I took away the shadow that was consuming you." Malagor stared at his trembling claws, then at the battlefield. his dark army already fading into nothingness. Without him, their false existence unraveled. "It's over, brother," said Queen Seraphina, her voice soft but firm. "Your exile is ended. You can come home." For a moment, something fragile, hope, flickered in Malagor's ancient gaze. But then, with a cry of anguish, he turned and flew toward the distant mountains, away from light and forgiveness. "Let him go," Lily said as Seraphina made to follow. "He needs time. You can't heal someone who refuses to be healed." The Dragon Queen regarded her with deep respect. "Your wisdom outshines your years, Lily Parker." All around them, dragons began to land. The wounded, the warriors, even the young, their eyes full of awe. Zorian and Lunaria ran toward Lily, their voices ringing in her mind with joy. "You did it!" Zorian cried. "You awakened the deep magic!" "Not just awakened," said an elderly gold dragon, his voice full of reverence. "You mastered it. No dragon friend in our recorded history has ever wielded the deep magic with such grace and purpose." Queen Seraphina bowed her mighty head. "Lily Parker, you have saved Draenheim. The debt we owe you is beyond measure." Lily looked around at the dragons, her heart full. "There's no debt," she said firmly. "Friends help each other. That's what friendship means." The queen lowered herself in a formal bow, and one by one, every dragon present followed, a vast sea of bowed heads stretching as far as Lily could see. "Nevertheless," said Seraphina, smiling warmly, "you will always have a place of honor here. The portal between our worlds will remain open to you alone, whenever you wish to return." Lily thought of her parents, surely worried sick despite her note. "I should go home," she said softly. "But I'll visit again." "Of course," the queen agreed. "Zorian and Lunaria will escort you." As Lily prepared to leave, dragons came forward one after another, offering gifts of gratitude. Shimmering scales, tiny crystals, fragments of ancient wisdom shared mind to mind. By the time she reached the portal, her pockets were full of treasures, and her heart full of light. "This isn't goodbye," Lunaria said. "We'll see each other again. The paths are open now." "And besides," added Zorian with a grin, "you still have to teach us more about humans." "And you," Lily laughed, "have plenty to teach me about being a dragon friend." She hugged them both, though her arms barely reached around their necks, and stepped through the portal. Her bedroom appeared before her, exactly as she'd left it, though the shimmer of the gateway still glowed softly in the wall. Through it she could see Zorian and Lunaria watching her, their eyes warm with friendship. As exhaustion finally overtook her, Lily fell onto her bed, the pendant now cool against her skin. Her parents would be home soon. She smiled sleepily, wondering how on earth she'd explain all this, though the glowing portal might help convince them. 3 years ago, she'd simply bandaged 2 hurt baby dragons because it felt right. Today, she had saved an entire realm, for the same reason. She wondered, with a small laugh, what tomorrow might bring. As she drifted into sleep, the pendant pulsed once with gentle warmth, and in her fading consciousness she heard Queen Seraphina's voice, distant yet clear. "Sleep well, Lily Parker, dragon friend. Your adventures with dragonkind are only beginning." Years passed. Lily grew up balancing 2 worlds, a student in Willowbrook and a healer in Draenheim. Her parents, after the initial shock, learned to embrace the magic that had found their daughter. They even visited the dragon realm themselves, curiosity triumphing over fear. Zorian and Lunaria became magnificent adults, still her closest companions. Together, they explored the furthest reaches of Draenheim, from the Crystal Mountains to the Ember Seas. Under Queen Seraphina's mentorship, Lily mastered her control of the deep magic, healing dragons in ways even their greatest healers could not. Word spread across the realm, the human dragon friend with the miracle touch. As for Malagor, he remained in the far mountains, no longer a threat but not yet at peace. Sometimes Lily glimpsed a gray dragon watching from a distant peak. She always waved. He never answered, but she hoped, one day, he might. On Lily's 16th birthday, Queen Seraphina gifted her parents a matching crystal pendant. So they may visit Draenheim even when you cannot, the queen said with a smile. Her father's eyes lit up like a child's. Does this mean I can finally study the floating island's flora? For scientific purposes, of course. Of course, the queen replied, amused. Her mother just shook her head with a laugh. Our lives took quite a turn that stormy night, she said, smiling without regret. And Lily, now older, wiser, but no less kind, had become a bridge between two worlds. A healer, not just of wounds, but of divisions. When people asked if she ever regretted helping those two tiny dragons that night, she would smile and touch the pendant at her throat. How could I, she'd say. Some people spend their whole lives searching for magic. I was lucky enough to find it in my backyard during a thunderstorm, because I couldn't ignore someone who needed help. And somewhere in Draenheim, two dragons, once tiny hatchlings, would feel her thought touch theirs, answering softly across worlds. A bond born from kindness, strengthened by courage, and destined to last forever.